Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whenever this video finds you, I hope you're having a rad time. I'm the Figure Dude, and on today's Action Figure Showcase, we're going to take a look at my NXT Black and Gold collection. Without further ado, let's talk about some figures. Dude. Welcome back. Like I said, today it is all about NXT Black and Gold. And when I think Black and Gold, I know that Seth Rollins was the first NXT champion, and then I believe he was followed by Big E, and then I'm pretty sure it was Bo Dallas that beat him, and then NXT really took off in, I think it was 2014 when they had the NXT Arrival. It wasn't a pay-per-view. It was on WWE Network, whatever they were calling it. They weren't calling it premium live events then. So let's just say special. NXT Arrival special. But at that I'm going to just say pay-per-view. That's the easiest thing to say. That's when we started getting regular NXT shows, and the main event was a ladder match between Adrian Neville and Bo Dallas in a ladder match, and I know the Ascension was on there. There was an awesome match between Cesaro and Sami Zayn, but that is what kicked off what a lot of people would really come to know and love as NXT. So I wanted to take a look at really my figures from that starting point with Bo Dallas and Neville at the Arrival, really up until we kind of saw that shift to NXT 2.0. So there's going to be like 2 or 3. I'm thinking there's going to be about 4 parts, and I'm going to kind of separate it. Like, we're going to just start with the original wave of the Black and Gold, and then kind of move towards that tail end there. But first things first, we've got the Adrian Neville custom I made a long time ago, and then the Elite Bo Dallas. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to be saying this now, but I truly was a big fan of Bo Dallas. I thought his Bo Leave gimmick was hilarious. I think the Bo Leave gimmick, like the oblivious heel baby face, just like annoying character, is what Jericho thinks he's doing right now, but people just don't like him, where people would boo Bo, and like, I know it's the NXT crowd, it's small and intimate, but I thought his character was hilarious. And even though his time in NXT was kind of limited, as far as some of the other guys we're going to talk about, the figure I think is fantastic. It's very plain. It's got the Bo Leave shirt. His tights do say Bo Leave on the back in red letters, but this body came in handy for a ton of customs, and I think the likeness is really nice there. But my Neville custom here was just an Elite of his that I took basic boots from, repainted the tights. I have every intention of making a Neville on the Jazzwares body. I don't rave about a lot of Jazzwares figures, but I really like the build that they used for him, even though I think he could be even a little more ripped. But Neville, this was one of the guys that I always had an issue with Mattel, with them giving him really skinny thighs. But I do like this custom. It definitely worked for what I was going for, and special pieces of the NXT collection. Next up here were 2 of my NXT favorites in Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. And the Kevin Owens is a custom. Or fix-up, really, it depends on what your definition of custom is. I know some people are kind of picky with that. I took his original Elite. I got a cloth goods shirt with the KO, like the duct tape design on there. And then I took, maybe this is the head from the first Elite. I don't remember exactly. I know we got a basic first. It was atrocious. I did give him Luke Harper biceps to give him smaller arms, because he had real big arms. The Sami Zayn, I think this is Elite 43, and I don't know if it was his first Elite. The Elite of his I always wanted was his in NXT for quite a while. He had a design that had a flag of every country that he'd wrestled in, and it covered like his whole right leg, like right thigh, and it was so cool. We never even got it as a basic, and I've never seen anyone do that with any decals or anything. Don't know if I could pick out all the flags on there, but Sami Zayn he was my favorite. Like, loved Sami Zayn. His matches were awesome. I'd never really watched a lot of indie stuff, and like prior to watching NXT, I really only knew like WWE. And obviously NXT is WWE as well, but it was like a super indie for a while. Kind of what AEW was when it first started, where it was just bringing in like new guys all the time. It had that indie style, and I thought that was really cool. I loved all of his matches. My favorite NXT match of all time is Sami Zayn and Shinsuke Nakamura in Nakamura's debut. I just thought I was blown away by that match. But two like hard like staples right here in Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Next up were two of my favorites that I still think about to this day. Like, what if? We have Enzo and Cass. I love these guys. And I'm not going to say that about everyone I get up here. It's weird being nostalgic about something that was 10 years ago. NXT doesn't feel like this era doesn't feel like it was that long ago. But the landscape of wrestling has changed so much just since then. I thought these guys were awesome, and they never really accomplished anything. They never won the NXT titles, although I thought they were going to multiple times. I don't. I think Enzo won the cruiserweight belt on the main roster. Cass had one match with Daniel Bryan. I thought they had a chance of winning at WrestleMania, and they didn't. Just I thought these guys were awesome. They were so charismatic. They were fun. Everything about Enzo and Cass was awesome. I have fixed mine up a little bit, so I've got a Cup of Haters t-shirt on the Enzo, as well as a soft shirt on my Big Cass. I do have the British Bulldog torso on him instead of the ripped, or they gave him like the Sheamus size torso, which I did not like. But we got a couple of these. I think there's also a red Big Cass that I don't think I have. And then there was another Enzo that I could not get my hands on. That was in a white attire, I believe. And then this is also a head swap, because it had another head that had blonde hair, but I just didn't like how big the hair was. Didn't think it looked as good. So I swapped this with the basic. I picked up Enzo and Cass whenever I got the chance, really. But like I said, these guys were two just monstrous favorites of mine. I went through my pile now to pick out some guys that I were not going to say are my favorites. And I didn't dislike the Ascension. Their main roster run was absolutely atrocious, but I bought I bought into them on NXT. I like that they just kind of destroyed people. I thought it was cool just having a dominant tag team like that. I grew up with teams like the Legion of Doom. I know people compare them to the Legion of Doom, Demolition, like those kind of tag teams, but I thought it was cool because I feel like we didn't really have that in WWE during that time, regardless of the resemblance. These elites I think are really nice, even though I don't love the characters. I was kind of surprised we never got these guys in just their plain black attire. We did get a basic set, but the bodies and skin tones didn't match. I'm pretty sure that these, but I always thought these were really nice elites. I really liked the tights design, the overlay piece, the shoulder pads, just everything about these I thought was really nice. So like I said, didn't love the characters, but I thought these were really nice elites. Next up, we have the Perfect 10 and Prince Pretty. We've got Tyler Breeze and Ty Dillinger. This was the only elite that we did get of Ty Dillinger, who is now back in NXT as Shawn Spears. I'm looking forward to a figure of him. I don't know. We didn't see anything at San Diego Comic-Con, but I could see him getting a basic, and I can work with that. I can make a custom out of that. I've had some Shawn Spears decals for a long time, and I just keep like moving it to the side, kind of like how they did him in NXT and AEW, where he's always kind of a thought, but he just gets pushed to the side for someone else. I enjoyed his work as the Perfect 10. He teamed with Jason Jordan at first, and they were just like jobbers. And then his Perfect 10 gimmick I thought was fine. He had some decent matches and stories. But I thought this was Elite was pretty good. The only thing about it was that they used a pants mold. So he looks like he's got some nasty, wrinkly calves. From the waist up, I think it looks fantastic. Head sculpt and the jacket and everything. The Tyler Breeze was in a subline. It was in the Then Now Forever line, which was exclusive to Walmart. So it was kind of hard for me to track this down, but I liked the figure. I like the ankle cover, the boot covers, the jacket I thought was good. He does have a selfie stick that he came with, I couldn't find it. It's in a bin somewhere. I haven't fully moved everything out to the garage, my new man cave, but both of these nice figures, and like I said, characters that I enjoyed. Next up, we have Hideo Itami, as well as the Demon Finn Balor, and I know at some point I had more Demon Finns, and I sold some off, because I didn't like the formula, and they changed it up, and then they just kept making all of the Demon Finn Balors, and this is one of my favorites, even though he's on the Daniel Bryan torso. It was the Elite based off his Beast in the East network special where he fought Kevin Owens to win the belt. I thought this one was so cool. Basically, his whole body is painted, comes with the entrance gear and everything. The Hideo Itami is a custom. I just took a Tyson Kidd, repainted it, put the Hideo head sculpt on, and it's a custom I don't love. It was, the paint job on it was very basic. It's one that I'm definitely going to go back to and redo. I have the stuff that I need to do it. But Hideo Itami in NXT, he was another one that, like, I was excited for him. And then by the time we got to NXT TakeOver, Finn Balor was set to debut with the demon paint and completely overshadowed him. And that essentially squashed, like, all the coolness with him. Anyway, I've got plenty more Balors. I want to get to a couple more before we move on to some other guys, though. Next up, we have the TakeOver Dallas and the TakeOver London Finn Balors, and I am missing the headpiece and the chainsaw for the NXT TakeOver Dallas. I thought these were so cool when he debuted these. I was hoping when he came to NXT, he was going to do more of the, like, cosplaying that he had done, which he didn't do, but he found cool ways to change up the demon at some of the TakeOver specials. The TakeOver London one where he had the Jack the Ripper entrance was my favorite of his, and then I did really like the TakeOver Dallas one too, but then, like, the match with that one kind of got messed up because Samoa Joe kept bleeding and they kept stopping the match to fix it up. So my love for that figure is a little tainted by the match being a little disappointing, but I think these figures are so cool. I was so happy when we finally got the London Balor here, and so his thighs are a little smaller on these, and I know some people don't like smaller legs for him, but I think he's really short. Like, he's barely taller than JD McDonough, and he's super short. So I think they make him a little too tall. I know he's super ripped, but I think, like, the TakeOver Dallas one has the best proportions, and he's got the ripped torso and everything, and I think that's good for tight versions of, or like, Demon Balor. So like I said, I really like these figures. I liked Balor's time. Need to still make a couple customs, like the TakeOver the End where he had the silver demon, but as far as NXT goes, these are the ones we're going to show off. So rounding things up, we're going to have a couple more after this, but we've got Baron Corbin here, and NXT Baron Corbin, I didn't think much of him. I didn't dislike him, just didn't do much for me. I thought he was fine. The figures of him, I think, are fantastic. This one, I believe, is head swapped. I put the longer hair on him. He had his lone wolf gimmick. I don't remember a lot of matches that he had. I do remember him having the worst no disqualification match I've ever watched against Bull Dempsey. Both of them fought. The only weapon they pulled out was a chair, and all they did was sit in it. I'm pretty sure Baron Corbin, like, delivered his finisher and then sat in a chair. It was like a last man stand. It was the worst no DQ match I've ever seen. I wish we would have gotten a Bull Dempsey figure. Moving on, though, the Baron Corbin here. See, they did a really good job getting the tattoo detail in here. Dang it. I wish they would have kept the figures of him a little more uniform. I feel like they made him too smaller in some later versions. But this torso, I think it worked for him. It doesn't work for many people, but I thought they did a good job. I really like this Baron Corbin figure, even though I didn't care much for the character. So we've got, one more tag team, and then we're going to get out of here. So the last guys today are going to be the Vaudevillains, Simon Gotch and Aiden English. And again, this was a tag team that I didn't necessarily love, but they grew on me, and I ended up really enjoying some of the matches they had. I don't remember who they exactly. I think they beat the Lucha Dragons to win the belts. And the Lucha Dragons were who beat the Ascension. But I enjoyed these guys. I liked Simon Gotch. I thought his gimmick was interesting. I had watched him a little bit when I'd heard read about him potentially going to WWE, so I had an idea of him. But we got basics of these guys, and that's what I used to make these elites here. So the Aiden English was a DDP essentially that I repainted, torso, legs, everything. Even though it was hard for me to nail that white paint, and you can tell it's a little bit off. That was the first skin tone I ever painted, and I just had to keep making it whiter and whiter. The Simon Gotch, I used some Ryback lower legs, some whose thighs are those? They're like the Barry Windham, maybe, thighs. And then the torso is the like Tully Blanchard, Arn Anderson size torso. And then I just painted his singlet on there. So nothing crazy when I did these customs. I do want to revisit them. We did get Aiden English, obviously, when he was doing his Rusev Day thing. But I would like to revisit the Simon Gotch as well. So they're on my list, just not high up there. But that is going to be it. That is everything for the part 1 of my NXT Black and Gold showcase. I would love to hear what you guys think of, or maybe not think of entirely, but like some fond moments, or if you're as nostalgic as I am, or if I'm just way too high on that original run of NXT. But there's plenty more. I'm excited to get through everything. Like I said, I look back very fondly on that first wave of NXT, so I'm excited to take a look at some more figures in the collection. But if you stayed all the way to the end, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Please continue to like, share, subscribe, and remember, you can't buy happiness, but you can buy more action figures. Figure Dude, out.